We'd like to welcome each and every individual to Voices of Integrity, Top Gun Sales Boot Camp Training. Let's dive right in. Nora, what you got?
I had 12% yesterday.
Do you know when we're going to have the graphs?
I do not.
So, if we're doing an action vision on Saturday at 2, I don't know if that's something we put some time into. We got some graphs for you. They kind of didn't work, but we can make them work. And so, um, So it's hard for the discipline, like in Good to Great, the book Good to Great by Jim Collins. He talks about disciplined people, disciplined thinkers, discipline, and taking action. In the Young Men's podcast, the three C's for young men, developing highly productive young men, is consistency, consideration, and competence. So in sales, it's the same thing. How do you build phenomenal, crazy, insane salespeople? It's consistency. So that's the most important. It's the first thing. And then consideration, you got to consider all the pieces. Like everybody, there's a lot of different things. So one of the greatest blessings I have is that I have 7 kids. And so it's fascinating to me, JoJo, like we go we go and see Alvin yesterday. And it was crazy. Like every time JoJo goes, she just sits there. She doesn't say anything, she just sits there the whole time. Sweet as can be, but just sits there, put her heads on the table. And at the end of yesterday, and Alvin shared things yesterday, talked about friendships and what he values in a friendship. And I'm like, and he said his dad was one of his best friends. And I'm like, jeepers. And so at the end, I said to JoJo, I said, "Did you enjoy it, honey?" And Alvin was still there, and she's like, "Oh yeah, I did, Grump." I said, "What'd you enjoy most? What'd you learn? What'd you get from it the most?" And she said that girls can be right over boys. And Alvin is funny because he's like, "Oh yeah, JoJo, that happens more frequently than not that girls are right more than boys." And it's like just fascinating. Like just fascinating. But then he did come back, and it was interesting. A couple minutes later, he says, "But they're not right all the time." So, um, so it's just yeah. We'll swing back around to this. So the consideration, you have to consider, like everyone. You've got to consider the customer. You've got to so consistency on everything. That's what Good to Great is: disciplined people, disciplined thinkers, discipline in taking action. And so, Kenny and I did an in-person interview with a guy yesterday, and that revealed a lot. So he's got this super big brain. He's super smart, but I don't know that he's ever been taught discipline. Like it's like his brain has expanded beyond the ability to discipline itself, and so it's a mess. It's just a mess. This is why spreadsheets are so valuable, because they force structure, and like you have to organize things. And then you can measure consistency. So you organize things on the left side of the spreadsheet, and then you have columns, and you go through. Oh, this is for Shane. This is one of the beauties, Nora, of Shane. He's got a similar brain. He's all over the place. He is all over the place. And so these are the things that you need to have consistency on. And so that's 2. And then 3 is, well, 1 is consistency, 2 is consideration. And so it's understanding the different personalities. and how they like it. So when we go on vacation, when we'd go on vacation with the 7 kids, what's my number one goal of going on vacation with 7 children, especially when they get to be teenagers and stuff? I mean, what's the hardest thing when you have 7 kids, 3 boys, 4 girls, a wife? Like as a dad,
To keep them out of each other's hair.
ish, how do you make them all happy? So, I mean, we'd go ahead and say, what's one thing you want to do on the vacation? I would do this. What's one thing you want to do on vacation that's going to be fun? Make sure they all have something that's fun. What I didn't realize until all the kids were gone and I took them out as adults on vacation. So I took all my kids one year on vacation individually, where I'd just go on vacation, or Roseanne and I would go on vacation. And I had the rule is it's simple. I'll pay all of it or a lot of it, the vacation. It's fine. I don't care what we do. You guys decide what we do. Here's the money. And and then I would go ahead and say, and then I said, the key is just be happy. If we're happy, then I'll be happy. I don't care what we do. If you're happy, I'm happy. And if we're not, then I'm just going to go back and work because I can be happy working. I wish I'd have known that because if I'd have known that, that would have changed all of our vacations growing up as the kids. Because all I would have had to do is one vacation. You're not happy? We're going home. Cut the vacation off. They would have never, ever forgotten that. They'd have been happy on vacations. It's just weird. Anyways, so the third is consideration. What causes one personality pain gives another personality pleasure. And so you use that as levers to move things. But you have to consider, is this what's best for the customer? Always the customer. The customer, Tom Coons, 140,000 salespeople, 70 different countries. And he's like, the hardest thing, Mark, was to have them all understand and remember the customer is the most important thing. Of all the things, the customer is the most important thing. It's like, are you kidding? Like a customer is everything. And then so we could break that down, and I'd really like to see more structure here. Oh my goodness. And on the friendship podcast, I think I figured that out. I think this flawless thinking model, I think, is going to be the friendship model too. And could that be the sales model too? Probably. Like, I don't know. So there's 26 elements, I believe, major elements, and then thousands, tens of thousands of sub elements. And then competency. Like, do you have competency in, the 5 areas? So, yeah, unbelievable. Yesterday was a crazy day. Nor anything else you got?
No.
Kenny, what you got?
So it's interesting that you had a concern that your kids had fun. I don't think my parents were, especially teenage years, I don't think my parents, that was one of their concerns for us. I mean, maybe we were just better at having fun or figuring out how to have fun our own, just that's on us. That's just interesting.
It's interesting because my parents, I don't think they were intentional about having their kids having fun. Us, my siblings,
Mm-hmm.
and so is that why my kids are screwed up now? Because I mean, I don't think I went overboard. I mean, one thing on vacation that you would have fun, that you would enjoy, so you can remember this vacation. But then I did, like some of my kids, they just wanted to be crazy, and others wanted to understand, what are we doing today, Dad? Like what are we doing today? Like some of them, they had to know what they were doing. And I knew, like Ginger Ann, our oldest, she's 37 now. I remember when she was probably just learning to walk. So I don't know what that is, a year old or whatever. And I'll never forget. Like, she's walking along and she kicks up the carpeting, like, or the little throw rug. She kicks it up, and she turns around and she sees that it's not quite right, and she goes and pats it down. I'm like, that child needs to, like, she's going to be deep analytic. And so what we did is, like, we didn't just give in to their personality. We tried to help them to be different personalities, to see, hey, it doesn't have to be perfect, you know. But yeah, all right, go ahead.
Um, and then the customer is always right. Like we have a customer on a job in 2 weeks, and the customer, he will actually be there to look at the job, help us get started. I don't know if help us be there when we get started. And I don't want the crew, I want to have a dependable crew for that job. And it's a big job. So yeah, it sucks that we maybe can't bring some people that might have to give them an opportunity. But on the other hand side, well, we can't really do that because the
Why not?
customer, maybe the level of workforce or the quality of work that we need to have done, then we have to have a crew that can do that.
Right.
A crew that can do that, make sure that happens.
Well, the gentleman that we met with yesterday, like, Luke went ahead and made the observation. He says, I don't know if this is wrong. I'm not saying I do this, but I'm a little bit, on edge or something about if they just tell me everything they want. Like, they praise me a lot, praise everything a lot. I'm like, oh no, that's not wrong. You need to be very much aware, because I was aware of it too. Um, that's a schmoozer. That's somebody who tells you what you want to hear, and they use that to manipulate and leverage, things. And so could he be used for that? Like, his work may not be up, but, like, I mean, it's interesting. It's interesting. Like, I would love to see him with Alan and Nancy and see, like, could he handle the people side,
Mm.
better? Could he navigate that? And I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. It's just it's interesting, because I don't think I'm good at that. Like I think Tom's really good at that. Seeing, okay, this person fits here and this person fits here and this person here. The manager of AJ's plant, he's Amish, of the egg plant. We were in there and had these huge computers that's looking at screens and looking at everything. And 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 he's like, I'm like, and this, I've noticed this with Amish, especially the big companies that are Amish, the managers, like, of the Grand Design and the plant manager. It seems like they have the ability to go ahead and know intuitively where to put people. Okay, this person's going to go here, this person's going to go here. Yeah, that person's not going to fit there, that one's not going to fit there. um um yeah,
Do you think that's learned or just
I think a lot of it's innate. I think it is developed. I think it's developed, but I think a lot of it's just innate. It's just a natural ability. But I can go ahead and learn to be better than anybody in anything if I'm willing to do the work, make the sacrifice, take the risk. So they may have more natural ability than me, but if I outwork them, I can get better at that. Now again, that's not per se everything in life. I'm not saying everything. Like, I'm not going to play professional basketball as a center. Yeah, just too short. It's not going to work. But I mean, development, learning and growing. Like learning and growing. Like when we put together the Lego flowers for Valentine. Like first thing I did is I saw all these pieces and it's just chaos and I just organized them all like Lincoln does with his cars. And so, okay, you organize things. And my wife, when she was putting together, I had two roses, she had two roses. When I was putting them together, I had everything put into piles so I knew where things were at so I could get to it quickly. Not to go ahead and get done with the project and beyond. It wasn't that reason. It was just, to do it efficiently.
So you get praised by your wife that you're good at it, and then that makes it all worth it.
Well, it does. And I'll talk about that Valentine's Day more than I will, any other, because it's very different than anything else. And so it's, and it's, I mean, between us, like that is the last thing I wanted to do on Valentine's Day. She's like, hey, did you want to put together the flowers? I didn't even know what I said yes to. Pay attention what you're saying yes to. And so, but she wanted to, and I could tell that she did. So I went ahead and said, oh, yeah, sure. No, absolutely. And so that's one of the benefits of teaching your kids to eat food that they don't like to eat, because there's good discipline in doing things you don't want to do. And you have experiences that are really, really cool that you'd never had if you didn't have the discipline to try new things and experience new things. And, yeah. But here's a tip for men. Like, it'd be interesting. Like, I heard your husband and you put together, flowers. After 41 years of marriage, it's she knows you pretty good. And so it'd be interesting if somebody asked her and said, hey, Rosanna, because she'll never forget it either. Did Mark enjoy, did he want to put together, like, was he really excited about putting together the thing? And my guess is she'd say, maybe not as much, but I mean, but maybe she'd say, oh, yeah, I know. I think he really enjoyed it. He really wanted to do it. I don't know. I mean, once I got into it, it was kind of fun because how fast can I put them together and, and how do I do it? And so I turned it into fun. And so it was fun and memorable and, it was really cool. And so, so men, with your wives, especially with your wives and with your daughters, make sure you enjoy things. Because if you don't, you're stupid. You're just stupid. Because it doesn't count. There's some men I know, I obviously not going to name names. There's from fathers, husbands that when they're going to do something and they complain and they act like a child. Yeah, I know. Yeah, fine. I'll go ahead and do this. Like men, husbands or fathers who whine, like, Grandpa, do you want to do this? No, I don't want to do this. But no, I mean, that's my responsibility. Yeah, no, I'd love to do that. That'd be so much fun. As my daughters, you want to watch Barbie? No, I don't want to watch Barbie on a date. No, I don't want to. No, yeah, no, I do. Is that lying? It's not. Because I want to, and I want to see the joy in there. I want to see what makes them click. I want to create something that will last for, their whole lives. Don't ask, did that work, Mark, when they grew up from kittens and they became cats? Don't ask about that. But I'm still glad I did it. And so it's like, enjoy things. Even things you don't enjoy, learn how to enjoy the things you don't enjoy. Same thing in work, same thing in sales. There's so much in sales that you just don't like doing. You just don't. You just do not like doing them. We'll learn how to like it. Learn how to enjoy it. Anything else, Kenny, you got?
I do not.
I think that's like learning to enjoy things. I think some of the Amish are like, well, if I'm not going to do this because I don't enjoy it, well, that's missing the whole point. When you say, well, the way I understand it is if you need to learn to enjoy the things you don't enjoy doing.
Big time. Big time.
So like when we say learn to enjoy things, don't just do the things you enjoy. Learn to also do the other things you don't enjoy and then enjoy
Your,
it.
your growth is going to come probably most from things that are the most painful will be the things you can grow the most from. The things that you don't enjoy are where you're going to grow. You're going to, pain is the highest growth. Next is things you don't enjoy. And so, how do I enjoy things? How do I enjoy things that others around me enjoy? If I can't do it with my wife, I'm not going to be able to do it with my kids. And if I can't do it with my wife and kids, I'm not going to be able to do it with team members. And so now it does get a little tricky. It does get a little tricky when you get a little older. Not a lot older, just a little older. And so people enjoyed seeing me, on the back of Kenny's, jet ski. They enjoyed that a lot. Kenny enjoyed it even more when the rope got sucked into the motors and then I helped him swim the thing back, and he mocked me. He's like, "You were swimming." So I'm a very sensitive kind of guy. You got to be careful when you make fun of me like that, like that. Anything else, Luke? You got?
I was just gonna say you were helping.
Right? No, you already made fun of me once. Like, but like it was, you know, like, like. So my father-in-law, he was in construction his whole life. Whole life was in construction. Worked for Narvik Brothers in Morris, Illinois, and so he could do anything construction. I mean anything. The guy was a monster. And it's funny because we were burning a big oak tree, cut it down and everything. And he knew how to get young men. He knew how to get young men to work, do physical labor, and he joke around and push them and stuff like that. But I don't know when maybe when he was in his 60s, probably my age now, goes his whole life without sawing off any appendage. And then all of a sudden, he's like 60, saws off the end of his thumb. Like, how do you, like, with a skill saw, I think it was. Just boom. What did he do? He's old school. He went ahead and picked up his thumb, put it back in seriously, and then duct taped it, finished the job, then went to the hospital. Cheapers. That just, and he smoked his whole life. Like his whole life he smoked. And so, but I don't think he ever took a sick day, like ever. Like he's just old school. Like that's just, old school stuff. And so, and then my dad, he went ahead. And so he went ahead, and when he was probably about my age too, he's climbing up a cherry tree and pruning it, not using a ladder, not being safe. And what does he do? He falls out of the cherry tree and hurts himself. So I'm like, learn from those, learn from those guys, Mark. And then I'm 58 and get move to the property in Indiana and get a go-kart. And what do? Like I put a helmet on. I'm like, I don't know if Jason and Ben, they're not having helmets. So I don't know. I mean, how dangerous is a go-kart? Like, do you really need a helmet? So I take the helmet off and I go flip the thing 3 times. And I don't know if you guys knew that you can break your face. It was the weirdest thing. Like I broke my cheekbone. So when you go to blow your nose, your cheek blows up like a balloon. Like it's just, yeah. So again, with Top Gun, you learn these kind of things. Like, it's crazy. It's like, holy cow. Oh, one other story. So, like, Dave Libby, we go on a camping trip. You know, this is probably going to make Luke and Kenny go, we're definitely taking Mark on the next trip. So this guy, he has his speedboat, and he's got a tube on the back, and he's like, hey Mark, you want to go? And I'm like, sure. And I mean, he tried to knock me off. He's whipping it this way, this way. I mean, I'm bouncing on the back, still holding on. Like, he couldn't get me off. Like, I wasn't 60 then. I was probably in my 40s or 50. Yeah, probably 40s. And man, so many memories. And it's funny because Ben, he's like, I don't know, 3-4 years old and jumping off a cliff. You miss jump, you land you die. Like, I don't know, it's probably 30 feet, 50 feet in the air. And he's like, Dad, can I go? Can I go? I'm like, sure. Rosanna's like, you're not letting him go. Nah, he'll be fine. She starts crying because it's like, you look over, you're like, this. No, just make sure you hit it running really hard. So this guy, he says to Dave, he comes up to Dave, he says, man, I have new respect for Mark. I thought he's just some accountant guy, couldn't do anything. I could not get him off. Like, that guy, yeah. Anyways, anybody else have anything else?
Nope.
I don't think so.
All right. Always remember, we can accomplish so much more together than we ever could on our own. Have an amazing day. Bye-bye.